What's going on, good people out there on YouTube land? It's the Masked Man, mastermind behind Mental Trip, back with another video. And before I get into it, I really must ask you guys to like, comment, and subscribe beforehand, because I might say some really controversial stuff that might put me in the hot water, catch hell or catch fire or whatever negative phrase you want to throw on it. But this video is going to be about European standard of beauty and how it's crap. It doesn't exist anymore. It really doesn't. Sadly, I think it's something that black women use in order to mask their true hatred for their hair texture. Let's get into the history of this shit. The European standard of beauty comes from what we think people should look like in order to be presentable out in public. It's really much race relations between blacks and whites. Let's just be honest. And black hair texture was considered just horrendous, ugly, dreadful. Nobody liked it. So in order to appease white people and to look more appealing in public, period, black folks used to do everything they could to straighten their hair to look like their white counterparts. Heat, whatever, all kinds of just any chemicals, anything you could think of to make a kinky, tight curled hair texture straight, black people did this. Men and women. Up until the mid-60s. After then, men stopped that bullshit and said, we're going to let go of what men called the process. That's black dudes had white men comb-overs and everything. They rocked that shit. What happened was the divide. In the 60s, white women came up with the feminist movement. And this was for white women to be seen as equal as their white male counterparts. For anything you could think of a woman fighting for, equality, same wages, same job opportunities, you know what I'm saying? They want to get out and they want to work, they want to feel more important and more contributing to their family and the family structure. Well, black women saw this and said, hey, we're women too. We want to join in on this and we want to fight against the powers that be. So they joined forces in fighting with white women against white men, and black dudes were just pushed to the side. Black men lost black women to a white feminist struggle. So whilst fighting alongside white women, black women started to see white women as their competition and competing for the white man's attention. Therefore, they continued on the tradition of straightening their hair. You can't argue with this, because why did black men stop doing this in the 60s, but black women kept on doing it? And till this day, still doing that crap. And now they're blaming it all on the European standard of beauty. No, I don't think anybody cares about how white people look out after the year 1996. Ain't nobody trying to look like no dead head, pale skin, and no offense, but nobody's trying to look like that. Maybe out in Far East Asia like Korea and Japan, they pine for white people. They love the European standard of beauty. But over here in America, that shit don't fly. Black folks don't give a shit about no European standard of beauty. That's black women's excuse that they use to mask their hatred for their own hair texture. You can get mad all you want to, but being mad don't change facts. Emotions don't win arguments. Black women can't freaking stand the kinky hair that grows out of their scalps, but they blame black men for their insecurities and white people for the European standard of beauty, and it's all crap. Now I'm going to throw black men under the bus. Heavy. A black dude will fuck a hot dog bun. I think a black dude will fuck a bald-headed crackhead underneath a street lamp. They don't give a shit about your hair texture. So stop blaming black men for your insecurities about your hair. Black women don't give a shit about what men think. When was the last time a black woman really valued a black man's opinion, especially on her hair? Social media has clearly proved that all the current trends that go along with black women, eyelashes, nails, funky ass wigs, black dudes have confidently said, we don't like that shit. Do they still do that? Yes, they continue to do that. So that proves that they don't give a shit about how we feel about their hair texture. They just can't stand it, and they'll do anything under the sun to cover that shit up. I truly believe, and this sounds screwed up to say, but it's hyperbolic, but I'm kind of serious when I say this. I really think if all else fails, a black woman would put a safety cone over her head in order to cover that shit up. She put a lampshade over it. She put a book over it. Black women hate their hair texture. And then they instill this into the next generation, causing a generational curse where great grandma hated grandma's hair, grandma hated mama's hair, mama hates daughter's hair, and now daughter's gonna hate her daughter's hair. And it has nothing to do with black men or white people. It doesn't. It's a scapegoat. Them greasy ass wigs that you see these chicks wearing, that wavy, crinkly shit, that's the texture that they really want. The type of wigs that they wear is the hair texture that they wish they had. So why do they really do this shit? Black women wear these ugly ass lime green, fuchsia pink wigs and fingernails and silly eyelashes to compete with other females. It has absolutely nothing to do with men. They wear this shit to compete with the next bitch. They are not thinking about no man when they're dolling themselves up in the mirror and they're about to go out in public. If it really was about white people and black men, I don't think the process of getting the wig would be so in-depth. You would be able to just take that shit off at night, throw it on the counter, and go to bed. But it's not that simple. You go through the lengths that you go through to cover your hair up, only proves one thing, that you can't stand what's going on underneath it. So let's say this. If black chicks really nutted up and said, screw this, we're going to finally accept our hair texture, stop wearing wigs and weaves, you think the European standard of beauty would really exist? White folks would be forced to deal with it. They're not going to fire you because the anti-discriminatory laws has been set in like the 70s. They can't just fire you because you decide to take your wig and weave off. But here's the nail in the coffin. If it really does exist, who's perpetuating it? Just by y'all wearing wigs and weave, you're perpetuating it. Because like I said, if you decided tomorrow to take the wigs and weave off, you will make a whole world of difference. Because the entire world would be forced to now accept black hair texture. Boom. Holla at your boy. Another video in the books. It's the Masked Man, mastermind behind Mental Trip. What's the YouTube lingo? Like, comment, and subscribe. And until the next one, I'ma holla at y'all. Deuces. Peace.